Most people think getting into flow state takes hours of warming up, the perfect environment, and the right music without any distractions. But it doesn't. As a former Israeli special operations agent, I had to enter a state of total focus in microseconds. Not minutes, not seconds, but microseconds. Because often, that's all I had. There was no time to meditate, no time to set the mood or listen to binaural beats. You're either locked in or you failed. And today I'm going to show you the exact method I used to enter flow state in under 3 minutes, anywhere, anytime, no matter what is going on around you. My name is Itamar Marani. I'm an ex-Special Forces operative, undercover agent, jiu-jitsu black belt, and the author of Elite Performance, a blueprint for mindset and performance in business. I work with 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs to find clarity, get unstuck, and achieve their highest potential while winning big. If you appreciate me making this content for free, hit the like button below. It helps me know more of what to make. With that said, let's get into it. Now, before I show you the method, we need to get one thing clear. You cannot magically shortcut flow, even though that would be nice. And if you watched the previous video, you already understand this. Flow is earned. It comes from repetition, from mastery, from doing the work long enough that your brain recognizes patterns automatically. So what I'm about to show you is not how to create flow from nothing. That's naive and it's just fake marketing. But I'm going to show you how to access that on demand once you've actually built that foundation that we talked about in the previous video. And again, if you haven't seen that yet, you can check it out right here. Because again, without that foundation, you're going to try to use techniques, but they're going to compensate for a lack of skill and it's not actually going to work. If you have put in the reps and if you have put in the time, then entering flow doesn't take hours. It takes microseconds. The problem is not time. The problem is usually interference. Most people don't struggle to focus. They struggle to eliminate everything that's competing for their focus. It's not this step, it's a step before it. They have too many options, too many open tabs, and too many directions they could possibly take. And your brain doesn't know what to lock onto. So it doesn't lock onto anything. And flow requires constraint, not activity, but constraint. In high performance environments, we didn't have the luxury of warming up. We had to create clarity on the spot. And that's exactly what this method does. 3 steps in under 2 minutes. All right, so step 1, constraint. You need to remove options immediately. Flow cannot exist when your attention is split. So the first thing you do is this. You decide what you're not doing. Close everything else, ignore everything else, and eliminate every competing priority for your attention. Because as long as your brain thinks there are multiple important things, it will not fully commit to any of them. It will naturally try to find whatever feels easiest. Constraint, however, forces commitment. Step 2, target lock. Now that you've removed everything else, you define one objective. Not a vague goal, not I will work on this. One clear, specific outcome you are looking to achieve. Whether that is write the first paragraph, solve this one problem, or complete this specific task. Something immediate, something actionable, something that you can measure that your brain can execute on right now. Flow doesn't start with complexity, it starts with clarity. But after you've nailed that in, you gotta go to step number 3. Step 3 is the trigger, and this one comes directly from inside the Israeli security agency. Before any operator entered a death house, before anyone cleared an airplane in training, we used an activation word. It wasn't motivational, it wasn't a mantra, it was a code word for a terrorist. A specific and unusual word, not something you'd ever hear in normal conversation in Hebrew, and that's exactly why it worked. We heard it multiple times a day, every training cycle, every rehearsal, every time the stakes were real. And over months and years, your nervous system learned what that would mean. It meant lock in now. Everything else disappears and execution starts. Like, I haven't been in special operations for over a decade, but even just thinking about that word right now, I can feel my focus spiking and my adrenaline getting high. My aggression immediately goes up and it gets me ready to achieve the task that is actually required of me. Now, that's a conditioned response. It's not a trick, it's not a hack. It works because of the thousands of reps that preceded it. And you can build the same thing. You can pick a word, a unique one, something you'd never use in regular conversation, something your brain won't associate with anything else. Then use it every single time before you sit down to execute, not sometime, but every time. And over enough repetitions, that word becomes a switch. Not because the word has power, but because you built power into it. And that's flow. And again, this only works if you've actually done the work beforehand. If you haven't, this will feel forced, it will feel heavy, unnatural, and clunky, and it won't work. But if that happens, just look at it as feedback. It means you need more reps, more exposure, and more time building the actual skill, the foundation. Because again, flow is not something you hack. It's something you unlock after you've earned it. But once you have, this becomes reliable. You don't need the perfect setup. You don't need hours to warm up, and you don't need ideal conditions. You just need a little bit of clarity and some immediate action. So the next time you sit down to work, don't overcomplicate it. Don't think about what music you need to have on or any of that nonsense. Simply ask yourself, what am I not doing? What is the one thing that matters right now? And what is my trigger word? And then take action. And if you've built that foundation, that's all it takes. And if you're serious about operating at that level where you can lock in on command and execute without distraction, you're welcome to book a strategy call using the link in the description below. On that call, we'll break down where you are, identify whether you've actually built the foundation required to flow, and show you exactly what needs to happen for you to access this level of performance consistently in your business, with your teams, with your family, and onwards and upwards. Because this isn't about doing more. It's about operating at a different level. And if that's what you want, you're welcome to book a strategy call using the link in the show notes below.